Fallout New Vegas. Pretty sure you're all pretty familiar with the Fallout series by now. But New Vegas has been out for 3 years, give or take. In October, I'm pretty sure it'll be 3 years, yeah. But some people are just starting to get out with that, getting into the funky and smooth groove of the beautiful Vegas Strip and the unrelenting Mojave Wasteland. And I've heard a couple questions regarding the different factions of the game, like some of their backstory, what they stand for, what they can expect to be getting into when they're running around and doing quests for these different factions. So I've decided to make this quote-unquote short video for people who have questions regarding the major factions all vying for control of Hoover Dam and of course control of the New Vegas Strip. But little do these people know that their courier will be a deciding factor in who gets to run all of New Vegas. So let's just start out easy, small. The first major faction you'll probably most be running into. And that's called the NCR, who are the good guys, quote-unquote good guys. The NCR stands for New California Republic. Based in California, they have holdings in Nevada, Oregon, Mexico, known as the Baja, and along the Colorado River. They have an emphasis on many old world values, such as democracy, liberty, rule of law, which is the state of order where events follow the law, and striving to restore order and progress to the wasteland, but they kinda have a difficult time doing so, which is where the courier will come in if you decide to help them out. They were founded by remnants of survivors in the Vault 15, and their small-walled community they founded known as Shady Sands, along with some help from the Vault Dweller, who was the Fallout 1 protagonist. The community prospered and gained many helpful trading routes, which in turn gained them power, and in 2186, Shady Sands changed its name to New California Republic. Now the NCR is what you can consider to be the good guys of this game, but they have a "if you aren't friends with me, you are an enemy" sort of mindset when interacting with the courier. So if you want to be a good guy, quote-unquote helping the wasteland the most you can, the NCR is a good choice for you. Paint them a lawful good. Next, we have the quote-unquote evil faction, known as Caesar or Caesar. We're going to get to that pronunciation later. Caesar's Legion. Caesar's Legion is a slaver society founded in 2047 by Edward Salo, known as Caesar, and Joshua Graham, who's now known as the Burned Man, and based on ancient Roman Empire. They operate east of the Colorado River in Grand Canyon, in former state of Arizona, and their capital city is Flagstaff. They contacted the NCR near New Vegas and tried to take Hoover Dam from them. In their first battle, which was known as the Battle of Hoover Dam, and it saw Caesar's Legion appearing to win, but the first recon battalion and NCR Rangers attempted a tactical retreat in the border city while taking down Legion's officers with their superb rifle skills. Malpai Leggett, leader of Legion forces, was unable to adapt to strategy of the NCR and led troops in the booby-trapped Boulder City, causing severe casualties and causing the Legion to retreat in failure. Caesar was angered by the Leggett's failure and had him covered in pitch, set on fire, and thrown into the Grand Canyon. The legend of the Burned Man is now only a tale told by the lowest Legion recruits and slaves, and mention of his name is forbidden. Even though all this sounds quite terrible, actually, the Legion territory is perhaps the safest trading territory around, as the Legion has a zero tolerance against raiders and fiends alike, largely due to their dependence on chems, and the Legion has a zero tolerance for chem use. Of course, by 2081, which is now where New Vegas is taking place, the Legion has now re-established all of its power, well, not all of its power, most of its power, in the West. It is now slowly but surely plotting to crush the NCR, claim Hoover Dam, and claim the Vegas Strip, if you're willing to help them. Now let's talk a little bit about the pronunciation of Caesar and Caesar, because in the game, some people pronounce it either way, and I'm sure that's going to cause some problems with some people who don't understand why they do that. But the people who mostly pronounce it Caesar are Legionnaires. And they're using classic Latin pronunciation of Caesar, which is Caesar, where you use the diphthong, and Caesar, C-A-E-S-A-R. The A-E is the diphthong, and it's pronounced Caesar. But other characters will use the anglicized pronunciation, which we're all familiar with, which is Caesar. Both are correct. So now we have the extreme opposite of the NCR. a slaver society who slaughter entire towns and crucify their occupants just to send a message to people that the Legion is back in business. The business of lawful evil. And now we're going to talk about the man himself, the man of the hour, Mr. House, the face, heart, and soul of the New Vegas Strip. Born in 2020, which would make him 261 years old during the events of New Vegas, Robert Edwin House founded Robco Industries in his hometown of Las Vegas around the age of 22. Robco would go on to become a very successful and profitable corporation worldwide, thanks to his amazing technical and business handling skills. House went on to use his wealth and power to attain controlling seats in separate and rival businesses, such as Repcon, the Lucky 38 Hotel and Casino, and the H&H Tool Company, a family business his half-brother had taken from him. House enjoyed trying to use math to predict future events, and around 2065 had predicted there would be a large-scale nuclear crisis in around 15 years. And to drive this home even more, his contacts in the military had informed him the Chinese had a large stockpile of warheads aimed directly at his favorite place. That's right, they're messing with Las Vegas. House used his cunning and his apocalypse predictions to create a plan to ensure the city and himself would survive to see the end of the world and live through it. So, is helping Mr. House a good or bad thing? Even though the NCR would like to tell you it's a bad thing because you're not helping them to ensure their victory, you're helping someone else. It's actually not that bad. So you can chalk up helping Mr. House as a lawful neutral. And now we're coming to the one that's a little difficult to really talk about since there's not much backstory to go on. There's really not much to talk about with this one, and that is the Yes Man or the Independent Vegas line, or if you want to get technical, the Wild Card line. And this is initiated by the Yes Man, who is one of Mr. House's Securitrons that was reprogrammed to do exactly as he was told, which his new owner had planned to do by taking over the strip from Mr. House. Now, I guess you can really kind of chalk this one up to either a true neutral or lawful neutral. And I don't really want to get into much more detail because it can kind of spoil some of the plot and who owns the Yes Man. So we're just going to leave that one there. And now there's one more faction I really want to talk about, and that's only because they played such a big role in past Fallout games and a very large role in Fallout 3. And I'm sure you know I'm talking about the Brotherhood of Steel. They were founded by Captain Roger Maxson of the U.S. Army, originally sent to the West Tech Research Facility in 2076 to monitor the experiments being conducted there. And in 2077, Maxson and his team discovered, to their absolute disgust, that the West Tech science team in Mariposa was using military prisoners against their will to test the genetically engineered FEV, or Forced Evolutionary Virus, the discovery of which caused a major hit to morale, and the commanding officer killed himself 5 days later, causing the team to turn to Maxson for leadership. After he interrogated and executed the head scientist, Maxson was now in control of the Mariposa, and declared himself a deserter of the U.S. Army, which was met with no response due to the escalating war between America and China. And about 3 days later, nuclear weapons were used by both sides, ending the Great War only 2 hours after it started, and the rest is Fallout history. The paramilitary organization that Maxson had created and named the Brotherhood of Steel decided to use their resources to rebuild humanity at whatever cost they had to pay. And sometime around 2020-31, the Brotherhood of Steel came to be at war with the NCR, which is known as the NCR Brotherhood War. What fueled the war was the High Elder, Jeremy Maxson, attempting to expand Brotherhood operations to the east, and he also took a much more aggressive stance on keeping any pre-war tech from what he called the lesser people, which the NCR did not agree with. They believed it should be used by everyone to bring stability to the wasteland. Despite the Brotherhood's much more advanced weaponry and armor and training, the Brotherhood of Steel was outdone by the grand scale of the NCR army. The Mojave chapter of the Brotherhood of Steel continued fighting the NCR until around 2074. The Mojave chapter is the chapter in New Vegas. While they established a base at what was known as Helios 1, the chapter found themselves to be getting overwhelmed by the growing forces of the NCR in the region, which soon culminated with the NCR attempting to take Helios 1 from the Brotherhood, which ended with the Brotherhood's amazing tech being no match for the sheer number of NCR troops, which in turn led to one of the bloodiest battles in the Brotherhood's history, and the chapter retreating to what was known as the Hidden Valley and setting up in a bunker There, under a new elder known as McNamara, after their old elder, Father Elijah, seemed to disappear after their fall in Helios 1. Since the shameful defeat at the hands of the NCR, the Mojave chapter has since begun only venturing to the Mojave in small man scouting missions, which many members of the chapter disagree with heavily. Though they're not really a major faction in the game, the Mojave chapter of the Brotherhood of Steel are much more like their counterparts of Fallout 1 and 2, where they are not as open to helping savages and are much more concerned with helping themselves and hoarding as much tech as possible, as opposed to the Outcast chapter encountered in the Capital Wasteland, who are much more helpful and open to the outsiders. No rating. I'm not going to give them a rating since they're not a vying power in the Hoover Dam battle. Now that you probably have a little bit of better understanding with New Vegas and the major factions with some of their backstory, you're now better suited to hit the Mojave with a clear picture of how your courier will influence the Strip and the Wasteland. But just remember this one simple thing: the house always wins. Hope you guys enjoyed it.